Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a B-movie review, and today I'll be having a look at the film Open Water Adrift. It's obviously a sequel to the film Open Water. Now this film says it's based on true events, but I've got a feeling it really is referring to the same true events that inspired the actual original Open Water film, where basically a couple were sort of just left stranded in an open water and pretty much was their sort of fates there. So I think this is not really based on a specific case, rather than just it's based on the idea of people kind of being left alone in the water. It's exactly the same story as the original film was made. So I believe this one was made a few years after. I think 2006, if memory serves. And it's a tale of six friends who go on a yacht sailing. There's basically three couples, so three guys, three girls, and there's one of them which is sort of afraid of water. She had an experience when she was younger and is kind of doesn't want to go in the water. She's very nervous about going in the water. She's constantly wearing like a life jacket and what have you. And four of them are already to go out in the sort of middle of the ocean. Four of them are in the water swimming, and the one with the life jacket has actually got a little baby on board. And she's not actually planning to go in the water at all. But one of the guys, who is actually her ex-boyfriend, not her current boyfriend, decides the best way to sort of get her over her fear is to basically chuck her in the water. So he grabs her and dives in the water with her. So all six adults are now in the water at this point. But he forgets to put down the winch thing that basically lowers the ladder in. So now we've got these six people all in the water with no way of getting back up again. So it's a very similar idea really to the original Open Water movie, except really this time you have more of them. Now in this one there's actually, this is going to be a little bit spoilerific because I'm going to talk about a few things that are going to kind of cause a few spoilers. So from this point on, spoilers. So there's no sharks in this film. I don't really know much. I haven't actually seen the original Open Water, to be fair, and this film, I know it not exactly a shark film, but sharks were in it. This film, I thought maybe it'll be the same sort of thing, but there isn't any sharks in this one, so don't go into it thinking it's going to be a shark movie, because it isn't. I guess you have the idea that there might be something there, but there ultimately isn't. However, there are sort of dangers, and we do have a number of the cast basically sort of getting killed off through one way or another. Exhaustion. One of them has a knife and ends up accidentally knifing another one, for example. And one of them knocks their head. So you kind of whittle down to basically two of them at the end of the day. So a couple of issues with this film. It's just the ending of this film is very unsatisfying for me. There's a couple of reasons why. One of the girls decides she's going to try and swim back to shore and get help. We don't know what happened to her. Sometimes you get these films and they have like a little bit of text at the end of it, sort of telling you what happened to some of these characters. There isn't. We just don't. She just swims off. We don't know whether she made it or not. So that was kind of unsatisfying to a point. However, at the end of the film, the remaining two kind of figure out a way to get one of them back on the boat. And so one of them gets on and then lowers the ladder so the other one can sort of get back on. But for some reason he chooses not to, because ultimately this was his fault, that this guy. So I think he's basically trying to sort of almost commit suicide because he feels so guilty. But this other girl sort of decides to dive in and save him. And then we have a shot sort of during, because this is in the night at this point. Then they have the shot the next day. And we see this kind of other sort of like fishing boat basically finds the adrift vessel. There appears to be no one aboard it, and apart from you hear the baby crying, which has ultimately been left alone. But they're sort of saying ahoy. No one answers, so we're assuming that there's no one on board. However, the next shot you see a shot of the female survivor sort of looking out from the boat into the ocean, with the male survivor sort of led out on the deck. So I don't know whether it's supposed to be they actually survived, or whether it's like they're dead and this is kind of just some sort of purgatory or something like that, or whether she managed to get this guy's body on board. We don't know. And there's no, like I said, there's no text at the end, so to me it's one of these things where it's kind of left open, but it just ends up annoying you. But apart from that, the actual kind of lead up to it was fairly was quite it's quite interesting. I think the acting was all fairly fairly well done, and the situation seemed to be quite sort of genuine. Some of the sort of decisions that they make seem to be a little bit illogical, but you could put that down to these guys were panicking. For example, one of them manages to sort of get their phone that was sort of hanging off one of their jackets off the side, and he gets a bit of water in it and then decides to lob it without trying to sort of dry it out, things like that. And they managed to make like a rope out of their sort of swimming trunks and things, sort of managed to hook it up on one of the rails. But one of the biggest bloke decides to climb up it and rips it, rather than sort of one of the lighted sort of females maybe. Anyway, so stuff like that. There are kind of these sort of maybe slightly logical decisions. Now you could argue, as I said, that these things they're panicked, so people are going to make illogical decisions. But they've been in the water for a good few hours at this point. They should maybe be a little bit more. The panic is past, and they kind of should be a little bit more constructive with their thinking. But that's kind of relatively minor criticism. The end I didn't like, I have to say. I thought it was kind of one of those endings that just made you feel a little bit cheated. But overall, the film wasn't too bad. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. So have you seen it? Let me know what you think, and how do you think it compared to the original movie? Leave me a comment. I look forward to seeing you next time. Ahoy, skippers.